welcome to Spirit Flow TV's Road to the Call interview segments. We have special guests lined up for you. Today I'm here with Randy Bolander, and he is a right hand of Lou Engle, getting the call rolling here in Las Vegas. You better be there October 20th, 2007 at the Thomaston Mack Center. You will not want to miss this historical event. Randy, thank you for being here with us on Spirit Flow. Good to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Oh gosh, our pleasure. We're excited about what's going to take place. Why don't we begin the interview with telling us just who you are as a person, and then what you do for the call.
Sure. My name is Randy. My wife is Kelsey. We've been married 18 years. We've got 4 kids, ages 14 years down to about 10 months. And for the call, I'm the director of regional gatherings.
Okay. For regional, and what does that look like?
Covering things like logistics, finding a venue. If we want to do a 20,000 seat venue in a city, we find it, negotiate the contracts, go in and meet with the people, meet with leaders, and just start the groundswell.
Wow. Now, July 7th of this year, just a few months ago, the call was in Tennessee, and now we're here tonight. Vegas had a little pre-rally here on September 1st. Getting ready for the 20th. Now, what are some of the similarities preparing for Tennessee and Vegas and any city that you do? But then I'd like you to go into a little bit, what are some of the differences preparing for Tennessee versus a city like Las Vegas?
Yeah. I actually did not work directly on the Nashville event. That was another part of the team that did that. I'm kind of new to the team in that respect. The needs are the same in that people are hurting and cities are desperate for God to break in, whether it's Nashville or Las Vegas. Las Vegas is unique in that it seems like the symptoms are closer to the surface, but the issues of greed, of lust, of jealousy are the same in any large city. And so those are similarities, I guess you would say. Differences venue-wise, the call had been kind of on hiatus for about 3 years. There had not been a large-scale call event. And so we launched Nashville with Titan Stadium with about 100,000 seats, put 70-some thousand people in that, and it was just an amazing day. Now here in Las Vegas, now that it's launched, we're going to a smaller venue. If you can call 20,000 seats small, it's still a pretty good prayer meeting. If you're like me and you grew up with prayer meetings being 4 or 5 people in the basement of the church, anytime you do a 20,000 seat room, it's pretty exciting.
Excellent. Now, I've heard you speak on 2 different occasions about this call in Las Vegas having significant meaning to you. Take a moment and tell our viewers what that significance is.
Yeah, we're just so excited to be coming to Las Vegas. In the last year, Las Vegas I joke, it's become my adopted hometown. I've been in town 5 or 6 times, I think. Initially, not for the call, but because we came to Las Vegas last October to adopt a baby girl. And when the time came and we got the phone call to come and get this little girl that we knew nothing about, we had been raising money all summer. We're missionaries, and we were $7,000 short when we said, yes, we'll come and get her. I sent out an email blast, and a friend called me immediately and said, we want to help you. They said, we just watched a video about revival in Las Vegas, and we want to sow into revival in Las Vegas, and we want to give you those $7,000. And so with that money that we gathered, we flew to Las Vegas. As we flew into the city, prior to that, our only encounter with Las Vegas was a family member who took a sizable chunk of money that belonged to the family and came to Las Vegas and blew it all in a weekend in the casinos. And as we flew into Las Vegas, the Lord spoke to both my wife and I and said, your inheritance was squandered in this city, but I'm sending you back with real money to buy an inheritance for yourself. And at the time, I thought that just meant our little girl, Zoe. I thought that was all about our adoption. And so here we are now, 10 months later, and we're preparing a large-scale prayer and fasting event. And more than ever, I'm convinced that those $7,000 that woman said she gave us to sow into revival in Las Vegas really was for the call. And I don't know that we would have done those things had we not had this connection. And here we are working with ICLV, and the woman who helped facilitate the adoption attends ICLV, which we didn't even know ICLV existed at the time. And so it's special to me. I think part of my inheritance in this city is what God's going to do through this this gathering.
Yeah, it's like God was using that girl, that whole situation, to just line up the dominoes, so to speak, and knock them down. And it's going to be a lights out event in the Thomas and Mack. You know, this movement is so big, the call in general, not just Las Vegas, you know, but yet it has such a grassroots feel to it. So how is it accomplished in this day of mass marketing, big name entertainers, politicians, so on and so forth?
Somebody asked me this question in a radio interview this week, and the best way I can explain it, because there's a very grassroots feel, a very, this is us doing this as a responsibility on people.
Yeah.
And I think it comes when you remove the economics from the gathering. None of our speakers get an honorarium. We don't really have speakers. We have prayer leaders. None of our musicians get paid. In fact, they pay their own way to come and do these gatherings. When you see a band leading worship, you know that they bought their plane tickets, they paid for their hotel rooms, and they didn't get an honorarium to come do that. Nobody on the platform was coerced or paid to come do this. They're all literally there on their own nickel. And when you do that, you bring a certain spirit of generosity, and also just a desperation of, God, if I don't come and participate about it, you know, I want to be a part of this. I will sacrifice to be a part of this. And so they're paying the same price that the 15-year-olds are that are fasting 21 days before the event. The people that you see in front leading it are paying the same price, and it just makes it a level playing field. It doesn't matter if you're in the back seat, in the highest level of Thomas and Mack, and you're fasting and praying, or if you're on the platform, you're in the same role.
Wow. Now let me ask you this: as people are watching and they're hearing about the call, you know, first off, we want to let you guys know, register. The event is free, but register online at thecall.com. But now, what does somebody, give a picture of what the call looks like? I mean, you're there from, well, in Vegas it'll be 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. What is it? I mean, it's not an event where you go with your coffee and just, you know, having a good old, what does the day look like?
Yeah, most people have a hard time getting their head around a 12-hour prayer meeting. That sounds like death on a stick to a lot of people, a 12-hour prayer meeting, because they've made their lists to pray for, and they've prayed their hearts out, and, you know, 5 minutes have passed. And they've said, how could you do this for 12 hours? We use a model of prayer that goes back and forth with prayer and worship. Prayer and worship go hand in hand.
Yes.
And so we've got some phenomenal top-level worship bands, you know, that are well-known, although we don't publicize names. It's just one of the values of the call. You don't know who's going to be there. You don't know who's going to speak. And so we'll go back and forth between, this is the focus we're praying for, and this is why. And we'll pray for a while. We'll go back into worship for a while. We'll go back into prayer. We'll go back into worship. And I think what people will find is the 12 hours actually passes way more quickly than they think. And of course, it's a come and go event. Some people come for a few hours. A lot of people expect to come for a few hours, end up staying the entire day. There'll be focuses on praying for the sex trade in your city. There'll be focuses praying for abortion. We'll be praying for families. We'll be praying for churches. Just all facets of society that need to be affected.
Wow. When you were in Tennessee, I know that the day started with a silent march of about 25 to 30,000 people. Is there going to be some sort of march in Las Vegas going into that day?
We're investigating that right now and what that looks like.
Okay.
We really were not prepared for how well that was received in Nashville. We were thinking maybe a couple of thousand people will want to do this and march through the city in silent repentance. We had no idea. The newspaper said later that probably 30,000 people did it. A number of my friends told me just how incredibly powerful it was to them as they walked and just dealt with their own hearts before God, and would turn around and look, and there's 30,000 people behind them, all of them silent.
Right.
So there certainly is a lot of interest, and we're just kind of looking at that with the city. You can't exactly just take over the streets of the city without some prior permission. But be praying about that. We'd love to do it.
Yes. Now remember, this is recorded on September 1st, so hopefully we'll have an answer for you. Right. So, you know, in the meantime, so there may already be, by the time you're viewing this, a definite path lined out, but stay tuned with all that, and we will keep you posted.